Our desire was based on just living the country where we were, rather than what we are going to have in a new country. Because we did not see any future, and we always knew that Jews cannot do much there. It will be always kind of a line, and there were a lot of restrictions, there were a lot of quotas for Jews. And of course, we could never imagine that we will go so far.
When you were in Russia, your husband, were you employed? Were you working? And if so, what were your jobs?
My husband was a civil engineer over there, and I had a degree in economics. So both worked, but I couldn't find a job for 5 years being there. They just opened my passport, saw the stamp, Jewish, and closed the passport and said, sorry, we don't have any position for you.
What did you have to go through in the mid to late 1970s to get out of the former Soviet Union? Was it any different for you than for perhaps people later on who were trying to get out or who did get out?
It was a big difference because we had to give up everything. The apartment, the job, the difficult process we went through was tremendously difficult. And we just overcame all the obstacles. But many friends of us stayed behind and became refugees.
What was it that brought you to Detroit? Why Detroit instead of New York or Chicago, or for that matter, Israel? What was so attractive about Detroit at that time?
It was no attraction. We knew very little about any of the cities. But we went to Detroit. We came to Detroit because my family, part of the family, my brother with his family were here already.
What do you remember your first recollection when you arrived in Detroit?
Well, it was a great joy to be finally on the earth of the United States. We were very happy finally to arrive and ready to start a new life.
Was the Jewish community overall organized at that point in time also to help people from the former Soviet Union adapt to life here in Detroit?
Jewish community was wonderful. Actually, we felt the support, of course, the financial support and any other support yet in Vienna. As soon as we arrived to Vienna, the Hayes really started to take care of us.
Now, I noticed that in the maybe late 1980s, you started working for the Jewish Resettlement Service.
Yes.
Here in Detroit. How did that come about, and what do you recall about that experience?
Actually, we volunteered a lot in the community. My husband was active for Soviet Jewry Committee, and I was active locally for Jewish Family Service. And one day, one of the resettlement workers called me and asked if I want to work for money, doing the same thing I do as a volunteer. Absolutely, our first Hanukkah is absolutely unforgettable. Even if it happened 40 years ago, it happened in Barbara Schreier's home. And our first menorah was given by her family. We still use it from year to year, and it was really festive of lights, festive of hopes, and we just never forget that.
Later on, whether it was in your official work capacity or just as a volunteer, that you did or tried to do some of the same kinds of things for newer emigres from the former Soviet Union.
Yeah, the second Seder, for example, was always in our house. The family came, then the friends joined us 12 years later from Moldova. They came to our house, so we continued doing what we were actually taught and exposed to in our first years of being here. I think it was the most right decision we ever made, and we only regret that it didn't happen 5 years prior.